of course, a question from the mind that might come with this encouragement to step back from our mind to gain all understanding or understanding of all things would be, well, how can I understand anything if I'm not using my mind? Like, because we believe that that's where we understand from. But many of you may have had the experience in your lifetime at some point where an understanding comes from somewhere else. It comes from a feeling in the body. It comes from intuition. No doubt, all of nature's understanding is coming from that place of senses, intuition, energy. I mean, you just watch birds and butterflies and turtles migrate, and how do they know that? Well, there's an understanding, right, that goes through the ages, that just gets carried through, and it can only be accessed by the subtle sensory material of these beings, and we have the same thing available to us. So I have no doubt that all of us have experienced some kind of understanding that has come from beyond the mind. And in fact, sometimes it makes absolutely no sense to the mind. And yet there's a relaxation that happens here. There's a knowing, there's a trust that comes in, and it can be very, very, very clear. And the other thing that I want to really have us consider is that if the mind is the place from which, like the mind, the beliefs is what I'm talking about, is the place from which, or the intellectual mind is the place from which understanding comes, then you'd think we would have a whole lot of understanding nowadays. When we have more access to information than ever before, more access literally at our fingertips to any problem you have, you could find that, whether that be on Instagram or YouTube or just the internet in general. There is so much information out there right now. And so you would think that that would give us the understanding that we're looking for and would allow us to relax into our lives. And yet we continue, all of us, to bump into certain challenges in our lives. And no matter what we read, and certain things that we read and hear can certainly kind of, in a way, lead us in a certain direction or help us to relax into our experience. So I'm not saying there's a problem with any of this, but if that kind of understanding and information were the source of our peace, were the source of actually a world, that was fair and benevolent, then we'd be there already. And so what I think is being asked here, although it doesn't directly say it, but that there are different ways of understanding that can be accessed when we do step back from the mind, or when we do step back from the beliefs, or from the conditioned thoughts. And so I think that we are actually in some kind of a revolution right now, where many of us have kind of reached the limits of looking to our mind for solutions. I think maybe that's one of the great purposes of all this information accessible to us at our fingertips. It's like more information actually creates more disconnection in many cases. And so we get to see that what the mind believes is the source of happiness and peace, more information, is actually not working. And there are some of us that are really just stepping off that train. And I believe that there's a revolution happening right now where other parts of our being, other ways of knowing are going to come online. And this is the only way really that we're going to move our way forward to a place that helps us to feel more connected, not only with ourselves, but with each other, the planet, with the beings that we share it with, more able to be to be in relationships in our life in ways that are authentic, as we connect to the senses and sensations that show up in relationship. It allows for more and more clarity, more and more communication, more and more intimacy. And there's no amount of information that's going to take you there.